Hey, we have 10 minutes. Let's do some yoga for low back pain. We'll get started in a ragdoll forward fold. So we'll plant the feet hips width distance apart. Once you're situated, hinge at the hips to a forward bend. Now for the purpose of what we're doing here, we want to add a decent bend to the knees. That's going to help release the lower back. Once you've done that, you can grab opposite elbow with opposite hand and allow the head, neck, and shoulders to be completely heavy. If it's calling to you, you can invite some subtle movements, swaying side to side or back and forth. And then switch your grip so the opposite arm moves out in front. And then eventually you'll find stillness. Once you do, return both palms to the mat. Keep that generous bend in the knees and slowly start to rise up to a standing position. We're focusing on stacking one vertebrae on top of the other, so there's no rush to get up to standing, but once you do, reach both arms up overhead, and then we'll stack the spine. That starts with the soles of the feet, specifically pressing down through the pinky toes, the big toes, and the heels. Then you're going to create a posterior tilt. So you're literally going to do a pelvic thrust to press the pelvis forward. Navel draws up and in to engage the core, and the shoulders are relaxed down the back. Now when you're ready, take a big breath in, start to extend through all 10 fingers, but keep the shoulders away from the ears. As you exhale, we'll move into a spinal extension in the form of a baby back bend. So you can either keep the elbows straight and touch the palms, you can goalpost the arms, or you can catch the waist. Either way, regardless of the arm variation you choose, you'll press the hips forward, keep grounding down through the soles of the feet, and then once you've hit your limit with the hips, pop the chest up and take your gaze up high. And when you're over it, because back bending can be a little uncomfortable, come back to a straight spine. Reach the arms up overhead if they're not there already. Take a breath in here and exhale, fold forward. Left palm is going to plant in between the feet. The right arm is going to come high. Perhaps your gaze follows. Otherwise, you can keep staring down at your feet. Now what we're doing here is creating a subtle twist through the middle of the back. If you want to feel a little bit more sensation, perhaps you take a bend to the left knee and keep the right knee straight. Lower the right palm down when you're ready, and then reach the left fingertips high. Find where you want your gaze, and then perhaps you bend the right knee, keep the left knee straight. Lower the left hand down when you're ready, and then we'll move into a crouch and curl. So you'll plant the palms out in front of you and then tent the fingertips. Start to come up onto the tip toes and then slowly lower the hips down over the heels. Now in our crouch and curl position, we're creating the opposite motion of what we were doing in our baby back bend. So when we were back bending, we were creating a spinal extension. Now in our crouch and curl, we're creating spinal flexion. So we want to arch and round the spine as much as we can. And the shoulders might come up towards the ears. You can tuck the chin into the chest. The forehead might lower to reach the knees. And once you're starting to lose sensation in your toes, you can come down to a tabletop position. So we're stacking hips over knees and shoulders over wrists. And we'll create a neutral spine here. So what that's gonna look like is pressing all 10 toes and the tops of the feet into the mat. We're going to create that posterior tilt once again, so press the pelvis slightly forward, navel draws up and in, as always. Press the mat away from you so that you're creating some protraction in the shoulders. So rather than allowing the chest to fall down towards the ground and collapsing into the shoulders, keep pressing the mat away from you. Gaze directly down in front of you and create as much space as possible in between all 10 fingers. Now we'll move through a few rounds of cow and cat. So as you are ready, take a breath in, start to dip the belly low, press the shoulder blades back towards the spine and take your gaze up high. Exhale, arch and round, tuck the chin into the chest, navel draws up and in. Inhale, breath, dip the belly low, spread through the sits bones and gaze up. Exhale, arch and round like you're pulling the kneecaps in towards the underarms. Inhale, breath, dip the belly low, last time here. Exhale, arch and round, keep pressing the mat away from you. Return to your neutral tabletop position, and then we'll do a little bit of core work, which helps stabilize the spine. So what that will look like is reaching the right foot back, keeping the toes grounded for now, and extending the left arm forward. Thumb will point up like you're about to shake someone's hand. You can keep the toes grounded, or perhaps you start to lift the leg so that it's in line with the hip. Keep squeezing the right glute to maintain elevation in the leg. Now take a breath in and extend through your fingers and toes. Exhale, draw the elbow to the knee. Similar to cat pose, you're arching and rounding the spine. Inhale, breath, extend through the digits. Exhale, draw the elbow to the knee. Keep locking in the core. Inhale, breath, reach long. Exhale, elbow to knee, chin into the chest. Try to kick the glute with the heel. Inhale, extend out long. And exhale, return to your tabletop. We'll do that on the other side. So as you are ready, reach the left toes back and ground them. Right arm will come forward, thumb points up. Now keep pressing the mat away from you through the grounded palm. And as you're ready, if you would like, lift the left leg high. Keep squeezing the left glute. Inhale as you extend. Exhale, arch and round, draw the elbow to the knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw it inward. Inhale, come long. And then exhale, return to your tabletop position. When you're ready, make your way down to belly, chest, and chin. So you might need to walk the palms forward or the knees back, or both. Any way you choose to, just make your way onto your belly. Doesn't need to be cute. We'll do some more back bending from here, similar to what we did when we were standing. Now we're just on our stomachs. And we'll start with Sphinx pose. So we'll plant the forearms out in front of us. To get an idea of where your elbows should be located in relation to the rest of your body, you can grab hold of opposite elbow and opposite hand, similar to what we did in ragdoll forward fold. And then once there, just plant the forearms out in front of you. Now for Sphinx pose, you can allow the heels to splay open, relax the lower body. What we're really focusing on is pressing into the elbows on the forearms as well as the palms. Lifting the heart slightly and pressing the shoulder blades back. As you do that, perhaps you lift your gaze and level your chin to the mat. And in this posture, you may start to feel a little bit of sensation in the low back. Stay here if this is enough for you. Otherwise, you can find a different variation by taking a bend to both knees and flexing the toes. This might enhance the sensation on the lower back, and you can certainly stay here and experience this. Otherwise, you can turn this into a seal pose variation by pressing into the palms and straightening the elbows. Keep pressing the shoulders away from the ears. And then release when you're ready. Now, all of those variations are great for strengthening the spine. None is any better than the other. What's important is that you're paying attention to the way that your body is feeling in those different variations and choosing the posture that feels safe, secure, and accessible for your body. So the last back bend that we will do is Cobra pose. So we'll plant the palms underneath the shoulders and we'll hug the elbows inward. We want to squeeze the inner thighs together and press into the tops of the feet. The kneecaps might lift off of the mat. Now in Cobra pose, we want to use the strength of the core and the spine to lift the chest off of the mat. So we want to keep as little pressure as possible in the palms. So as you're ready, gaze out in front of you and then take an inhale, start to peel the ribs off of the mat. And remember to breathe. Keep rolling the shoulder blades back, hugging the elbows in. We're energetically and isometrically dragging the heels of the hands back towards the heels of the feet. Take an inhale breath, perhaps peel one more rib off of the mat. Keep pressing into the tops of the feet. And then exhale, lower down to belly, chest, and chin. Come onto the opposite cheek when you're ready. Allow the arms to rest by the sides and the heels to come open. And what we're doing here is taking a moment to slow down the heart rate. And you can do that by deepening the inhales and exhales. When you're ready, if you came on to one cheek or the other, you'll bring your chin back to center, and then we'll roll onto one side or the other. Doesn't matter which one. Take a bend to the knees. You can use your bicep as a pillow or perhaps support the head with the hand. And you can take a moment to orient yourselves back to the physical space. Becoming in tune with your breath, and then making your way into easy seated posture, moving at your own pace, crossing one ankle in front of the other, and sitting up tall. Keeping the core locked in to stabilize the spine and allowing the shoulders to relax down the back. Thanks so much for joining me today. Hopefully that provided some useful technique for strengthening and lengthening out the spine. I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.